bits and pieces around business management. So for me, we are now actually going to start off what business management is really about. And that is why chapter 6 is the introduction to business management. And then we are going to look at pork today. So don't worry, by the end of the class, you guys will know what pork is. But the next 4 chapters after chapter 6, so 7, 8, 9, 10, will be the pork chapters. Okay. So guys, as always, you guys know by now, use your themes as questions for yourself to make sure that you guys actually know the work before you continue to the rest of the work. So what we're going to discuss today is the role of management. So why do you guys think we need managers? Do you guys think that managers are important? Do you really think that companies need managers, or can a company manage without a manager? What are you guys thinking? Oh, hi. There's someone's mic that's on. Okay. Really, Tete, you say yes. So we do need managers, and you say for order. Otherwise, everyone will essentially just do whatever they want. Hey, you will just create havoc. And I agree with you. I think that without managers, no one will really know what to do. They'll just kind of hang around, maybe not even come to work. So management is indispensable. And the reasons for that is that they direct the business towards its goals. So remember that, and that's what we're going to talk about in the next chapters as well, is that businesses have goals, and through those goals, they have certain plans. It is the manager's job to essentially execute those plans and to make sure that the goals of the company is actually attained. So they set and keep the operations of the business on a balanced course. They keep the organization in an equilibrium with its environment. And the way that they do this is through environmental scanning. We have spoken about what environmental scanning is. So what they do is, remember, you need to continuously scan your environment, continuously, to make sure that you know what is happening in my market environment, and also to know what's happening in my macro environment. And then the last thing is that, like we've said, they need to reach the goals of the organization, but this is split into 2 ways. On the one side, we have to reach the goals of the organization. On the other side, we need to do it with the highest level of productivity. And we also need to do it with the resources that is actually available to us. We need to manage our resources properly. Remember, we spoke about sustainable development, so that there are still resources left for future generations. But we need to make sure that we actually maximize the resources that have been given to us to their full benefit. So guys, once again, what resources do managers use to reach their goals? You guys know this answer by now? Okay, we have natural. Natural is raw materials, human resources, capital, and what's the last one, guys? Thank you, entrepreneurship. Okay, so there's 4 resources that companies have to use. So guys, what I want you to do, I've loaded this case study under your learning units. I've loaded it under more resources and lecture slides. But what I'm also going to do is I'll quickly just present this on the screen for you guys as well. I want you guys to quickly read through this case study. Let me just quickly close that one. I want you guys to quickly read through this case study. And then what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to go to table 6.1, which is on page 197 of your textbook. And I want you guys to look at table 6.1 and identify some of the issues that you can recognize from this case study. And then I also want you guys to look at the benefits of a strong management structure and a strong management team. Okay, so let's start with question 1. Let me just make it maybe a little bit bigger so I know you guys can see. Okay, I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes. So quickly read through this case study, identify some issues that you think SIA struggled with based on the issues that is mentioned on page 197, and then we will discuss them afterwards. Okay, so guys, what I want to do is I want you guys to read through this case study. I have also loaded this case study under more resources and lecturer slides. It's called the SAA case study. So I want you guys to just on page 197, table 6.1. I want you guys to read through the case study and then identify some issues that you think, based on the table 6.1, that you think that SAA struggled with. Okay, so guys, let's quickly have a chat. So what issues do you guys think SAA struggled with based on table 6.1? Okay, lack of capital. Okay, bad management, poor financial management, failure to understand the market, management of their capital, lack of management. Guys, over borrowing. The fact that they've been borrowing is, well, not really borrowing, but essentially asking the government to please keep bailing them out. Yes, unable to keep up with their competitors as well. Debt management as well. So, guys, just a fun fact. The last time that South African Airways was actually profitable was in 2011. So, for me, it doesn't sound that long ago. It's not like they were the last time they were profitable was in 1980, for instance. I mean, that's only 10 years ago. So all of this have happened in the past 10 years, essentially. So this is it's quite an issue that SAA is struggling with. So guys, in the next question that I want to ask you guys. Okay, the next question that I want to ask you guys is, what are the benefits of a strong management structure and obviously then a strong management team? Okay, we have productivity. You can reach your goals in time. Clear goals are motivating employees to reach optimum levels. Teamwork. There'll be clear objectives. Okay, motivated workers. You guys are correct with everything. So that is why it is so important to have a strong management structure. And the strong management structure needs to come from the top down as well as from the bottom up. Remember we spoke yesterday about responsibility and accountability. And even in a business, if someone is not doing what they are supposed to do, you as a manager or you as a company needs to hold that person accountable, because just the way I explained it this morning to the students is, imagine that we have a house that's made of Lego bricks. If one of the bricks are missing, there's essentially going to be a hole inside of the house. Imagine 10 bricks are missing or 20 bricks are missing. We are not going to reach our goal because the little pieces of the little bricks are not doing what they are supposed to do. So every time someone doesn't reach their own individual goal, it affects the rest of the company as well. So guys, when we look at management, we obviously need to define what management is. So it's a process that is followed by managers to accomplish the business's goals and activities. Okay, so it's a process of activities. It's not just one thing. It's a process of activities that are carried out that will help the business to achieve its goals. So guys, when we break this definition up a little bit, management essentially decides what has to be done, how it should be done, orders that it gets done, and checks that the orders were actually carried out. And this is where pork comes from. So what has to be done is the planning. How it should be done is the organizing. What orders that it is done is the leading. And finally, checks that the orders were carried out is controlling. So this is essentially pork. So we have planning. Oh, let me do it this way. We have planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. And guys, you have to remember this almost forever in your life. Okay, you're never going to get rid of pork. You're always going to have to remember planning, organizing, leading, controlling. So guys, when we look at the different functional levels of business management or just managing of the business in general, remember that although we have different levels inside of the company, every single person in that company is busy managing something. If you're not managing an employee, you are managing your own workload as an employee. The same thing with planning. Every single person in that business is planning. They have different plans to make, they have different goals and different targets. But just because you are at lower level management or you are an employee doesn't mean that you are now going to stop planning, and it doesn't mean that you won't have any goals anymore. So guys, when we look at top management, so top management sit right at the top. They're the ones that have the shiny, big offices right at the top of the building. They control the business. They have the final authority and responsibility. So these are your CEOs, your board of directors, the managing directors, the partners. It obviously, guys, depends on how big the company is. So some companies might only have 10 employees. So your levels won't be clearly defined. There might be only one manager and the rest of the people might be employees. But you can also work for a company like Discovery that has 1,000 employees, for instance. So top management is responsible for long-term planning. They plan roughly 5 to 10 years ahead. Then you have middle level management. So middle level management is when we now break down the company into different functions, or how you guys are going to remember it, into different departments. So they are responsible for executing the policies of top management. And like we said, it's a different department. So you might have a marketing manager that works in the marketing department, purchasing manager works in the purchasing department, HR manager who is an HR, and they do medium to long-term planning. So their planning is anything from 1 to 5 years roughly. Then the last one is lower level management. So they really just do supervisory management. This is where a department, like let's say the marketing department, is broken down into smaller departments. So the marketing department might have a sales manager, they might have a production manager, they might have a promotions manager, but all of those managers fall under the marketing department. So the job positions in lower level management is normally your foreman and your supervisors, and they have short-term planning. So the short-term planning is anything from day-to-day activities to up to a year. Okay. So guys, what we quickly have to check, I'm going to show you guys a video. Okay, sorry, just had to do that. So we are going to watch a video on what the difference is between efficiency and effectiveness. Okay, let me just quickly get the video for you guys. Oops.
Efficiency and effectiveness. Management involves coordinating and overseeing the work activities of others so that their activities are completed efficiently and effectively. Efficiency is doing things right or getting the most output from the least amount of inputs. Effectiveness is doing the right things, that is, doing those work activities that will help the organization reach its goals. Efficiency and effectiveness are related. For example, if Toyota can make 100 cars with X value of resources, employees, time, or money, then Toyota is more efficient than Nissan, which only makes 80 identical cars with the same value of resources. Efficiency relates to the term productivity, and a major focus of all managers is to maintain or improve the level of productivity of their work unit and organization. Organizational effectiveness relates to goal attainment. If Toyota can make 100 cars as compared to Nissan, which makes 80 cars using the same amount of resources, but the quality of the cars Toyota makes is or an organization that achieves their goals are said to be effective and have used their resources to achieve an effective outcome. Thus, if Toyota is able to achieve 100 cars and achieve 10 out of 10 quality for all these 100 cars, Toyota is effective at the same
En dan hoor nou nie te wees. Okay, dan gaan ek my buite. Okay, hi guys, I'm back. Yes, I know my mic was on. I know my mic was on. I just quickly, someone couldn't stop phoning me, and I quickly had to just figure out, okay, that there's something wrong. Oh, sorry guys, I just ran. Let me just quickly get everything set up. Okay guys, just give me 2 seconds. Let me just quickly reconnect. Hi guys, sorry, I just had someone that couldn't stop phoning me no matter what I do. I kept on pushing like decline, but I kept on phoning. Sorry for that. Okay, let's quickly just continue with my video. Let me just quickly check where we were more or less. I do apologize, guys. It really, really does upset me if people intervene in my classes. So let's quickly just continue with the video that I wanted to show you guys.
compared to Nissan that achieves 10 out of 10, then Nissan is effective. An individual, group, or an organization that achieves their goals are said to be effective and have used their resources to achieve an effective outcome. Thus, if Toyota is able to achieve 100 cars and achieve 10 out of 10 quality for all these 100 cars, then Toyota is efficient and effective at the same time. In terms of management, every company must have a strong emphasis on the attainment of both efficiency and effectiveness. 3 levels of managers. For all companies to be efficient and effective, it must have 3 levels of managers, namely, strategic managers, senior executives with overall responsibility for the firm, tactical managers, responsible for implementing the directives of strategic managers, operational managers, responsible for day-to-day supervision. Strategic managers like CEO, CFO, or VP at Toyota will, for example, make decisions on long-term strategies of model of cars to be produced in the next 5 years, where new plants need to be opened, or link with government agencies to comply to international standards. Tactical managers, who are department managers, will then ensure that their department will accomplish the strategic goals. For example, the research and development manager will ensure the design of the cars are completed according to new models to be marketed in the future. Other department managers will do likewise. Operational managers are supervisors of departments or subdepartments. For example, the research and development electrical supervisor ensures that workers, non-managers, will complete the electrical design of the cars, provides technical assistance, and ensures job completion. Thus, tasks performed by the operational managers to get the job done through workers will collectively achieve the goals of the tactical managers. Tasks performed by all the tactical managers will eventually achieve the goals formulated by the strategic managers.
Okay, so guys, I hope this gives you a better idea of more or less of how the different management structures work, as well as what the difference between efficiency and effectiveness is as well. So guys, if we continue with the rest of the slides for today, we are now going to look at the different levels of management in business. Okay, so guys, the first thing that we're going to look at is the functional management areas of business. So remember what I said, functional departments, functional management. This refers to the middle level management. So this refers to the departments that have been, or the business that has been divided into different departments. So these managers are only responsible for specified management activities. So the marketing manager is only responsible for the marketing department. He's not responsible for what happens in the finance department or in the HR department, for instance. But each manager, like in every level of the company, have to plan, organize, lead, and control. So if we take the marketing manager, they will plan the activities for their marketing department. They will organize these marketing activities. They will lead their team by motivating them, asking them, have you actually done what you were supposed to do? And then they will control by measuring if their team has actually done the work that they were supposed to do. And this we can apply this to any other department as well. We can apply it to finance, HR, as well as the sales department as well. So guys, in some companies, we will have general management. So with a general manager, and this is really, that's why I put umbrella there, because it is very an umbrella concept or an umbrella term. So in some businesses, you will have a general manager as well. It does depend on the business. So some businesses will have very clearly defined departments, and other businesses will have a general manager. So like, that's why I said it does vary from organization to organization. And the general manager is essentially almost like a middleman between top management and middle level management. So they will deal with the activities of top management, but they will ensure that middle level and lower level management does their job. So a general manager will essentially report back to top management and say, this is what middle level management has done, this is what they have not done, and this is what we have to focus on. So a general manager, or if there's a general management department, they need to have solid knowledge of the overall business, and they need to know exactly what it is that top management wants to achieve, so that they can explain that plan or that goal to middle level and then lower level management. So guys, what also happens, I actually worked for a company where there was a general manager. What happened is that there was an owner of the company, but the owner was not an active owner, and he would essentially just tell the general manager what his plans and his goals for the company was, and it was then the general manager's job to ensure that every single department knew what they were supposed to do, and then he would report back to top management and or to the owner and explain to him that it has been done and where they have been lacking, for instance. So guys, skills. This is such a very nice question, guys, because the students always confuse the skills. So when we look at the skills that are needed at different managerial levels, and guys, I want you guys to, it's going to sound weird if I say I want you guys to really listen to me, but that's what I want you guys to do. So every single level of the company will need these skills. They just need them in varying degrees. Okay. So guys, the first skill is conceptual skills. So this refers to analyzing, thinking, planning ahead, and then interpersonal skills. So interpersonal skills is dealing with people, knowing how to speak to people, knowing what to say, what not to say, when you have to be tough and when you have to, just have a little bit of empathy. Then technical skills. So technical skills is applying the knowledge or the techniques of something to the discipline, to the practical work that actually needs to be completed. So when we look at what skills are needed inside of the business, let me quickly do this. Okay, top management. Top management mostly needs conceptual skills. You guys can see how big this block here essentially is. So they mostly need conceptual skills. It does not mean that they are not going to need interpersonal skills. They will still need interpersonal skills, and they are still going to need some, like a little bit of technical skills. So think about, let's take a earth moving company. So earth moving companies are companies that have back actors and front loaders and trucks and stuff like that. So even top management has to know more or less what products they have, how the products work, so that they are able to explain this to people. Then when we look at middle level management, they don't need as much conceptual skills because they don't do that much planning and analyzing, but they also need technical skills. So they need more technical skills than what top management will need. You guys will see that all the departments need around the same level of interpersonal skills. All of them need the same amount of interpersonal skills. And what that means is that every single department needs to know how to talk to people. Just because you're top management doesn't mean that you all of a sudden don't have to know how to talk to people or how to talk to your employees. Then when we look at lower level management, you guys will see that yes, they still need conceptual skills, but it is less than middle level management, and it is even less than top management. They clearly need more technical skills. Why? Because they are closer to the product. They are just one step away from the employees. So they need to know if an employee comes to them and say, hi, the truck broke down. Which truck? What broke? They need more technical skills. And then the workers, guys, so they obviously need the most amount of technical skills because they are the ones that are actually working with the product or with the service. So they need to know how the thing works. If it breaks, they're the ones that are selling this product essentially. Yes, they also need conceptual skills, but they need the least amount of conceptual skills. Okay, so guys, I hope this makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, just let me know and I can explain this to you guys again. I really don't mind. What I want you guys to take away from these different skills is that everyone, the management and workers, need all three of these skills, but they need them in varying levels. Okay, top management needs conceptual skills the most. The workers need technical skills the most. And middle management is really half and half. I would think they would need conceptual and technical equally, more or less. Okay, so everyone good? Okay, guys, oh, it's such a tough crowd today. I wish I had a joke. Then I could have told you guys a joke, but I don't have a joke. I'll look for a joke. Okay, I'll find a joke for you guys. Goodness. Okay, guys, let's carry on. So we're going to do one more, and then I'm going to give you guys a class activity. Just like between us in little brackets, this class activity is the ice task. Okay, so if you guys are writing down everything, you guys will be 100s kabundits. Okay, so guys, when we look at the role of managers, managers play different roles. They actually play up to 10 different roles, but we can break it down into interpersonal, decision-making, and information role. I just had a joke and I forgot it, but I'll get it again. Okay, so the first one is the interpersonal role. So they need to be a representative figure, not only to their department, but also to the company, because they represent the company. They have to be a leader, and they have to be able to build and maintain relationships with everyone inside of the company, as well as with stakeholders. The next role that they have to fulfill is a decision-making role. They are essentially an entrepreneur. They have to constantly think of new ideas, new plans. They are a troubleshooter, because why do things go wrong? They allocate their resources, and they are a negotiator. Then the last role that they have to play is an information role. So remember that a manager is essentially the person that carries the information down from top management to lower level management, and up again from lower level management to top management. So they have to monitor what is being said, what is being done. They have to analyze, and then they're also a spokesperson. So if we once again look at middle level management, they are the spokesperson for top management, but they're also the spokesperson for lower level management. So guys, I'm going to give you this activity, then we're going to take a break. What I want you guys to do for me is I want you guys to quickly do this table. So ABC Logistics is a large distribution company. They have 3 outlets across the country with 15 branches and a total of 4,300 employees. These 4 employees of ABC Logistics will be used to illustrate the various concepts. Okay, so guys, Jack is the CEO. Evelyn is HR, Sarah's warehouse, and then Ben is also working in the warehouse. I want you guys to identify the level of management, the functional area that you think they're in. So guys, Jack, remember Jack will be, I almost gave this answer. Okay, not all of them will have functional areas. Then what are the key skills that you think they're required according to the slide we just did? According to this slide. And then lastly, what do you think their role inside of the company is? So guys, I'm going to give you 10 minutes or so. Let's take a break. Let's come back at 4 o'clock, and then we can discuss this activity. Okay, guys, like I said, this is also your ICE activity, so do it properly now, so then you don't have to actually do it later on. Which side do you want to see again? This one, the skills one. This one. Okay, go. I'm going to keep it there for a little bit. Okay, guys, there's the roles. If you guys want to be like super duper proactive, what you can do is that you guys can somewhere quickly go and fill it in already under the activity. It is activity 6.1.1. Okay, so let's quickly, let me somewhere paste it here for you guys. Activity 6.1.1, and this is the ICE activity. Okay, so guys, if you just like really super tired and you don't feel like you want to now go and do this after class, you guys are welcome to quickly go and do it now. It's somewhere in the break as well. You just have to click on the red arrow, click on the activity 6.1.1, and then you essentially just fill in everything. Okay, but like I said, we are going to discuss it after the break. So let's come back at 2 o'clock. Oh, sorry, not 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and then let's quickly discuss it. Okay, so guys, first joke. Why are fish so smart? Okay, guys, let's carry on. Okay, guys, let's quickly do this activity, this in-class activity. Okay, so guys, let's start at the top. Level of management for Jack. Okay, so Jack is top management. What is Evelyn? Evelyn is middle, and Sarah? Okay, Sarah's lower, and then what is Ben? Remember, guys, that, yeah, so Ben can be a worker, or what you guys also could have said is an employee. He could also be an employee. Okay, so guys, the functional area, does Jack have a functional area? Okay, so guys, Jack doesn't really have a functional area because he doesn't really have a department per se that he is in. What you guys could have said is maybe general management. Since he's actually top management, you could have said general management, but you actually could have said he's top management. So he doesn't really have a functional area. So remember, functional areas are the different departments of the organization. Okay, then Evelyn, what functional area is she in? So remember, functional areas are the different departments. Okay, so guys, for Jack, I would say was either general management because he doesn't, because remember, Jack is top management, so there isn't a department for top management. So Jack, if you guys say general, that would have been fine. Otherwise, nothing, because I mean, he doesn't fit into a department specifically. So guys, Evelyn, so remember that if we look at middle level management is where the different departments of the organization is. So if we look at Evelyn, she's the HR manager. So HR manager will mean that her functional area will be the HR department because she's the HR manager. Okay. Then Sarah. So Sarah is the warehouse supervisor. So under which department do you think that will fall? Remember, a department can also be a functional area. So under which department do you guys think a warehouse supervisor might fall? Okay, so guys, let me help you. So a warehouse supervisor, it depends on how big the company is. They might have a warehouse department. So they might have a separate department for warehousing. Warehousing might also fall under marketing, for instance, so or under production department. So it depends on which department that she falls in. So I will say the functional area here. Let me quickly write this out for you guys. Sorry, I'm just quickly try this. Okay, so she will be under the warehouse department, for instance. Okay, guys, then Ben is the warehouse packer. So under which department do you think Ben is going to fall? Yes, so he will also be under warehouse. Oops. Okay. So guys, then when we look at the key skills that are required, what key skills will Jack require the most? So remember that he will require conceptual, technical, as well as interpersonal skills. But what skills will he require the most? Okay, Liesel, yes, conceptual skills. What skills will Evelyn require the most? Okay, so guys, Evelyn, remember if we go back to this one, oops. If we look here, conceptual and technical is kind of more or less the same. Yeah, so I would say 50-50 between conceptual and technical. Okay, because they're more or less the same. Then Sarah, so Sarah is lower level management. So what skills will she require the most? Technical. Okay. And guys, Ben, also technical. So guys, then the roles. What role do you think? So if you guys look at those 10 roles that managers have to play, what role do you think Jack will play the most in this company? So if you guys have to look at entrepreneur, troubleshooter, allocator of resources, negotiator, representative figure, leader, relationships, monitors, analyzer, spokesperson, or okay, let's make it a bit bigger. Okay, so you guys say decision making. Okay, so he will mostly make a decision making role. Then Evelyn, what role do you guys think she will play the most? Yeah, so guys, I will also say interpersonal. I think Evelyn will play more of an interpersonal role. If you look at it, she needs to act as the representative figure, the leader. She needs to make sure that she builds relationships. So I will say that Evelyn needs to mostly play an interpersonal role. And then Sarah, so Sarah, we can put an information role. They need to gather information from colleagues, from employees, from top management, lower level management. And guys, then Ben, remember, Ben is just a warehouse packer. He's not a manager. So Ben doesn't really need to play a role. Okay, so this role specifically refers to the roles of managers, not the roles of employees as well. So Ben will not really have a role if one of these roles because he isn't a manager. He's just an employee essentially. Okay, so guys, you guys have everything. You guys can now go and complete this activity, correct? Did you guys did you write everything into the blocks? Okay, cool. Okay, hundreds. So guys, let's continue. So guys, the next thing we're going to look at, and this is actually quite fun, although I know it can be a bit tedious and content heavy or theory heavy. We are going to look at the different management schools that exist in business management. So essentially how the management theory or the school, the thought process of management was developed. So we are going to look at two different approaches. The first one is the classical approach, which is from the 1900s to the 1950s. And then we have the contemporary approach, which is from the 1960s to where we are currently. So I'm going to take you guys back to the 1900s, where there wasn't any electricity, there wasn't any cars, definitely no internet, definitely no Wi-Fi, and people were essentially still driving around with horses. Things were still very, very, that is essentially just when they started with factories and people were just really expected to work. There wasn't really any rights. You didn't really have any rights as an employee as well. You were just expected to work and then go home at night. So the first school that we're going to look at is the scientific school. So with the scientific school, this was developed by a person with the surname of Taylor. And what he essentially said that if we simplify the jobs, that the production will then essentially increase. And so he specifically focused on the workers as well as lower level management. And you guys will see that the early schools were actually very focused on the workers. They really felt that the workers were the main driving force behind the productivity of the company, and it wasn't really the managers. The managers didn't really have a role to play with regards to the productivity. So he focused specifically on job observation, analysis, measurement, and then the job redesign. Then the next school is the management process school. So they started looking here at the functions and the elements inside of business. And just like a little fun fact, this is where pork actually came from. This is where it originated from. So the whole planning, organizing, leading, and controlling actually came from the management process school. The problem that happened with the management process school is that they essentially thought that if they can develop a universal technique, they can apply that to every single business. But what they didn't keep in mind is that every single business is different. They are unique, they are managed by different people, they've got different workers. So it is not a black and white, hard and fast approach where I can just essentially take a stamp and stamp it down on every single business, and every single business will be profitable. So this didn't really work that well. They did try it, but yeah, it wasn't a very good idea because businesses were unique and not everyone took to their idea of how they wanted businesses to run. The next one we're going to look at is the human relations or the behavioral school. So this is where they started using psychological aspects. They started doing experiments on people. Oh, sorry, not on people. Okay, guys, please do not like have sleepless nights. Not on actual people, on the company. Okay. So this was there was a guy with a synonym of mayo, like mayonnaise, but it's just like mayo. So what he did is he looked at the lighting levels inside of factories, and they actually dimmed the lights. And what they saw is that productivity actually increased, which was weird. I mean, productivity then stopped when people just really couldn't see what they were doing anymore. So then the second thing he did is, so later on, he then did a second experiment where he actually worked with women inside of a bank. And these ladies were given special privileges. So they could decide when they want to come and work. They could decide when they wanted to take lunch, how long they wanted to take lunch, all of that. And once again, he saw that productivity increased. So what I gathered is that obviously with the first experiment, I mean, it doesn't really make sense that the dimmer the lights, the more productive you'll be. Although I know some students try and tell me that this is the truth. They tell me how darker and how hotter the class is, the more productive they are. But what they then realized is that productivity increased in both of these experiments because the people were supervised. So remember, as these people were conducting the experiments, they were watching the workers. And the workers obviously became more productive because they were being watched by these psychologists. So what the psychologists then gathered is that it wasn't about the special privileges. It wasn't about the lighting of the factory. It was about the fact that these people were watched, so they felt that they were given or getting more attention. And they actually called this the Hawthorne effect, that as soon as you give someone attention, they will be more motivated to be productive. Okay. So guys, in the next one we're looking at, this is also where Maslow originated from. So Maslow's needs also came from the human relations and behavioral school. Around that time period is where Maslow also introduced his hierarchy of needs. Then the quantitative school. So with the quantitative school, what they tried to do here, and guys, I mean, like I said, they were really experimenting on these companies. They really just, tried everything they could. So with the quantitative score, what they tried to do here is that they tried to use mathematical models to try and see if they can make a business more productive. So they thought that companies can actually be broken down into an equation, and if we can master the equation, the company is going to be more productive. Then the next one is the systems approach. So the systems approach is around the 1950s. And what happened here is that they started to essentially, what we are also using now is they started saying that a company doesn't work on its own, that the company needs to interact with each other. So employees need to interact with each other. The different levels of management needs to interact with each other. The different departments also need to interact with each other. And that's where that quote essentially came from: the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. If I essentially put all the parts of a car down in front of you guys, the car is not going to drive anymore. So as much as the steering wheel is separate from the wheels and the petrol tank, you still need a steering wheel to drive. So as much as they are independent of each other, they are also dependent on each other. And that's where the word comes from, interdependent. So what interdependent essentially means is I'm dependent on you, but I'm also independent at the same time. Okay. it's almost like what you guys are with your parents, for instance. You guys are interdependent. As much as you are dependent on them at the moment, you are also independent at the same time. Okay. So guys, the next school we're going to look at is the contemporary approach. So this is from the 1960s to now. So the contingency approach, they essentially try to use different combinations of approaches to try and see if the objectives can be met more productively. So they try and said, okay, this company might need this type of approach, this company might need this type of approach, to try and see if the company will then become more productive. Then we moved on to strategic management. So guys, strategic management was around 1970 to 1980, and they started aligning the capabilities of the organization as well as the organization's resources with the business environment. And that is what I always say to you guys. Remember that a business does not operate inside of a silo. We are part of an environment, an industry. So even KFC or Nando's or Steers, they are part of the fast food industry. So for the first time, companies actually started looking outside of the organization and to see how can we adapt what we have with the environment on the outside. Then the next one is the total quality management. So guys, total quality management, this is the 1980s. And this is actually, guys can go and ask your parents. This is when they were really good quality. So this is the era that was known for really good quality products because they really focused on quality. All of the companies said, let's try and get ahead. Let's try and gain that competitive advantage by focusing on quality. They really wanted to develop products that were of a high quality. And then the next one is the learning organization and the re-engineering of business. So what they wanted to do here is I said that let's rather focus on the core business, on who we are, and let's outsource the rest. So if we are an IT company, for instance, and we have a marketing department, that's not really our core business. Our core business is IT. So let's outsource the marketing department to someone else so that we can rather focus on the IT aspects of our company. And the last one, guys, is where we are at the moment. So this is where companies are focusing on corporate governance, social responsibility, knowledge management, employment equity. So they're really focusing on how can I help the community, how can I help my employees, how can I help society, and how can we as a business essentially be better. Okay, so guys, then the last thing that I want you guys to do, but you guys can do this for yourselves, I want you guys to do this ICE this afternoon. I just want you guys to read through the case study of Woolworths on page 198 and then answer the questions on page 220. Okay, so guys, like I said, you can just do this for yourself, but it also helps you to make sure that you understand the work that we actually did today. Okay, so guys, that is it for today. That is actually the class for today. I really do like the management schools quite a lot. For me, it's really interesting. So what I want you guys to do, number one, go and do your ICE. I will upload the ICE for you guys when we are done with class. And then the second thing that I want you guys to do for me is, do you guys have any more questions with regards to the assignment, with regards to the test, the take-home test, for instance, that you guys might ask about, that you guys have questions about? You guys are more than welcome to ask if you maybe have any questions so that I can help you. Okay, 100 guys, if you're all happy, then that's it for today. So guys, I'm busy downloading the recordings as well. I